Go ahead and recommence with the conference. I'm going to turn it over to John Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming back to this special part of our program. And we're honored to have, first off, Mr. Speaker, Todd Gilbert. And we're going to ask Todd to come up and all of Todd's sheriffs in his district for this presentation, along with Sheriff Fred Clark. You can come, make your way on up here, guys.
You want me up here?
Yeah, come on up a little bit closer. We've got stage room down, and we'll take photos. The best.
Yes, sir.
Let's balance it.
I got everything.
All right, yeah.
You want Timmy to talk first? You want Tim to talk first? Let me give him the blackness.
I can't hear
Do you want Timmy to talk first? Let me give him the
I'll do it. I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, on some years, not every year, but most years, we give a award to members of the House of Delegates and Virginia Senate for things that they do along the way that benefit law enforcement, public safety, and particularly sheriffs. And this year, we're using this occasion to recognize two members of the General Assembly. So first of all, we're so honored to have the Speaker of the House of Delegates with us, Speaker Todd Gilbert. And Todd, well, I'll just say a few things about him, and then I want to make a statement. He was educated at the University of Virginia. He received his law degree from Southern Methodist University School of Law. He's an attorney. When he can practice, because everywhere I go, I see Todd there talking about public safety and working with the electorate across the state.
Not making money.
And not making money. He was elected as the Republican leader of the House of Delegates in 2018 and was elected Speaker in 2022. Now, Speaker Gilbert has been unwavering, has been an unwavering friend to law enforcement for his entire career. But at no time has his support been more valuable than the last 2 years. When protesters were in the streets demanding that the General Assembly defund police and law enforcement, Todd Gilbert was leading the fight against that effort. As Speaker of the House, he's been instrumental in efforts to reverse the policies that have made our deputies' jobs more difficult and more dangerous. We thank him for his work, and we are pleased to present him with this award honoring what he has done to help our sheriffs and deputies that wear the badge. And the award was voted on by the Legislative Committee and the Board of Directors of the Virginia Sheriff's Association, and it will be presented by the President of the Virginia Sheriff's Association. But first, I want to ask Todd's Sheriff Carter, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, John. I just have a few things to say about Todd. Todd is, again, he's known as Speaker Gilbert and Delegate Gilbert. He began his career as a prosecutor in Lynchburg, moved to Shenandoah County in the late 90s as an assistant Commonwealth's attorney. He has always been a champion for victims' rights. He has always been a champion for law-abiding citizens and their right to bear arms, and he has always been a strong supporter of law enforcement. He served on the Virginia Crime Commission, served as chairman of the Courts of Justice Criminal Subcommittee in the House, and served on the Virginia Criminal Sentencing Commission. Todd he was first elected in 2006, or 2005, began his term in 2006. He represents Shenandoah County, Page County, parts of Rockingham County, and at some points parts of Warren County during his career. He was elected as the 57th Speaker of the House, the Virginia House of Delegates in 2022, as John mentioned. I'd like to say one last thing. Todd has availed himself of the training that we've had in the Shenandoah County Sheriff's Office, and my advice to my fellow sheriffs is have a great relationship with your delegate, and Todd and I have had a very strong relationship since I've known him, which has basically been, gosh, Todd, since you were in college. So it's been a long time. But we have a very strong relationship, and with that, I'm very honored to be here today, and it's a privilege to be part of this and to see him receive this award. So I want to thank the Virginia Sheriff's Association, thank my fellow sheriffs, and thank you, Todd, for everything you've done for me, as well as the Shenandoah County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of our county and the citizens of the Commonwealth. Thank you very much.
I'd like to ask Sheriff Cubbage from Page County to come up and say a brief word.
I'll just make this brief. I just want to reiterate what Sheriff Carter said. We are very, very blessed in the Commonwealth to have Todd Gilbert, and we're blessed to have him as our representative. Todd has always made himself accessible to us, and he's always been an advocate for those behind the blue line. So I'm very proud of you, very proud of you, and thank you for all that you do. God bless you.
All right, so on behalf of the Virginia Sheriff's Association, I would personally like to thank you for everything that you do for the sheriffs and deputies across the Commonwealth of Virginia. We greatly appreciate you, sir. We have a plaque we'd like to present to you. It says, "Presented to Speaker of the House C. Todd Gilbert in recognition of outstanding legislation service for the improvement of law enforcement and criminal justice in Virginia. Virginia Sheriff's Association 2023. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's do a photo op.
Let's
Let's do a photo op.
You're not going to let a lawyer or politician get out of here without saying something. You know that, right? So just real quick, I'm so thankful and honored for this recognition. It is never lost on me the responsibility that each of you have for your communities, the unique responsibility that you have, the unique constitutional responsibility that you have, and everything that goes with it. We certainly stand with you for the protection of our communities. That is always, as the sheriff rattled off my experience, it has long been my mandate, I think, in Richmond to bring my particular experience to bear to try and give victims a voice and give communities, public safety in our communities, to put a spotlight on that. And so I'm so thankful, all of you sheriffs and my good friends and John for the honor. I'll just share a quick story. So I have a personal stake in this too. My dad, 3 sheriffs ago, however many sheriffs ago, back in Shenandoah County, Marshall Robinson was the sheriff, I think, Sheriff Carter, for any of the old timers that maybe remember that, go that far back. But my dad was in the chicken business, but he always had an itch to be in law enforcement. Apparently, my dad grew up in Texas, and he and his buddy were going to take the Texas Highway Patrol test. My dad's buddy ended up being a sheriff in Texas, in North Texas, many years later. He joined the Texas Highway Patrol. My dad went out drinking the night before he took the test, he told me, so he did not do so well on the test and ended up in a completely different line of work. You may not know that part, sorry about that. Many years later, he just got the itch and went and talked to the sheriff, and they were putting together an auxiliary deputy program. And so my dad joined the auxiliary deputy program, and I think did that for 25 or 30 years as a volunteer, many thousands of hours directing traffic and going out on searches and doing prisoner transports, all as a volunteer. They couldn't give him a raise, so they made him a sergeant eventually, so that's not nothing. He could have been a captain at that rate by the time he was, I don't think they do volunteer captains, but sergeant, he topped out at sergeant. But anyway, so as the sheriff mentioned, I got the opportunity, maybe to impress my dad, I don't know, but had the opportunity to join up in the auxiliary. I still have this, for what it's worth. Hopefully it's worth a little bit. And the clerk, the sheriff may not know this, the court clerk every 4 years calls me and asks me if I'm going to come get sworn again. And of course I do, and I don't even know if he knows it. Like, I've got a number and everything. Do y'all know that I'm on the list? We know. Don't? All right, I don't know if you know. But, so we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. But I wasn't sure he even knew, because the clerk is the one that calls me. But every year I'm like, yeah, I'll sneak in there and re-up again. But again, having that experience and being able to have that part of my family have that such a deep experience with our local sheriff's department has been a big part of my life. And so what you all do is never going to be lost on me, because I've had so many deep relationships with people, the men and women of law enforcement, who I know the challenges they face, having worked in the same places you do, not in the same way. I get to wear this to the party, right? I don't have to roll around in the mud with these people and go through all the things that even transcend that in terms of real world stressful situations that you all have to deal with all the time. But I'm happy to at least know enough to care enough, if that makes sense, and not everybody does. So as long as I'm there, I'll keep caring and keep doing what I do to protect you and all that you do to protect us. So thank you all for this honor. Appreciate it. Thanks again, John. I got something for you before we leave.